The Garden of a Fate. I leave the faculty library towards Place Jussieu, and from here I want to take the bus because I'm not in a hurry. Traveling by subway is not a solution anymore for me when I can avoid it. Using the bus, I can see the city in more detail. The discovery of a new place means for me to feel its pulse, its daily life. The subway takes you through the belly of the city where the arteries lead in closed wagons, people in a hurry or tired. They can be tired because of the weather and times alike. Or on the contrary, they can be light as the birds of the sky, with their mind's eyes following on who knows what dreams or chimeras. A weird mood enveloped me. The documentation for my paper took me to the Paris of yesteryear, and I have an acute feeling that I have not found out new things but that I have only rediscovered a world deep hidden in my heart. A dream I couldn't remember in its details made me wake up with unusual emotion. Its existence lingered in my mind beyond the moment of my awake. This somehow prepared me for what I felt all morning at the library, and now as I wait at the bus station at Cardinal Lemoyne, I take the bus with a strange shadow on my mind. The route passes through the typical Parisian landscape, which, as if in any part of the city, does not let you doubt you are right here in Paris. This city has something only of its own. Maybe the houses with specific architecture, with their indispensable forged iron balconies, maybe the intersections that remind me of the idea of crossroads in life. Maybe the chic women on the street or the dancing walk of the locals, each one and altogether is only of Paris. Streets, houses, people, destinies pass again before my hungry eyes. I'm thirsty for joy and peace, and somehow this traveling is like a blessed spring for me. What amazes and worries me is this feeling of being at home, which I have experienced nowhere else. An exception is that, at home, which is natural to me, that spot of my roots, in the Madeleine Square. The bus bypasses the church while the sun is playing with its column like the nymphs with the harp strings. Then it turns left onto a narrow street. It is a little street, like many others, that sprig in different directions, starting from the Parisian squares. I see on a blue plaque fixed on the white wall of a house its name, Rue Chevaux-Lagarde, and in my mind, the character Lagardère wakes up from the memories of childhood readings. Suddenly I shudder. A beige gate, like many others on the streets of Paris, appears outlined among the eyes of shop windows. It is a gate of wood and seems to open the way to the windows above. These windows also are common in this city. They reveal white wooden shutters and the indispensable wrought iron, just suggesting a balcony. Between the rows of windows, the white wall hides round shapes like wide eyes that now appear well outlined, but something, in my mind, turned them a little different and grayer. An acute need to get off becomes strong, and I follow the bus route anxiously, hurrying to the door. The bus stops as soon as it enters Malherbe Boulevard. I head back to the street I just passed and look for the building that aroused a tumult of emotions in my soul. The street seems to reveal itself differently to me. It is less animated, without buses and with bizarrely dressed people. I find the house that stole my thoughts and enter the gate, which is no longer beige, now it's a dark gray, matched with the walls showing a dirty white color. Only wrought iron does not seem to have changed its appearance. I don't know why, but I seem to know what I'm going to find. A long corridor, lit only by the sunny green in the distance, reveals a hidden garden somewhere at the end. My heart is strongly pounding under my left breast. A strange longing and a weird love animate it. I stop at the last point of the corridor and stare in amazement at the garden. Somewhere on the left, I see a tree dear to me, a weeping willow guarding a pond. On its edge, cupids with chubby feet pour cool water inside the pond from stone vessels. A bench enjoyed the shade under the green hair of the weeping willow. On the bench sits a woman with a hat hiding her face. She suddenly raises her face and looks up at me. Unusual dizziness envelopes me. For several minutes, I can't move. The woman in front of me doesn't move either. She looks calmly at my astonishment. A strong need for clarifying my thoughts triggers the next move I'm doing. I take a mirror out of my bag and look at myself. Yes, it's for sure but who is the woman in front of me? She has my look, not any doubt, only that the clothing somehow reminds me of a mix of modern elements in distinct moments of my life. What life? My mind asks me with some concern. Your life now. The answer comes with a slightly ironic tone. A quick moment I ask myself why's necessary clarification, but looking at the woman on the bench, the answer somehow emerges. Oh.
The fields of friendly strife, the fields of friendly strife, upon the fields of friendly strife are sown the seeds that, upon other fields, on other days, will bear the fruits of victory. General Douglas MacArthur. With considerable fanfare, Mrs. Bryant pulled the blank cover sheet from the bulletin board to reveal their latest hero for study, the famous Black American athlete Jesse Owens. Does anyone know who this man is? Mrs. Bryant asked as the children gazed at the colorful poster of Owens, which featured images of him crossing various finish lines and receiving medals. I can't remember his name, Eric said, rubbing his chin, but I remember that picture. It's from the Olympics, a long time ago. Right you are, Eric, Mrs. Bryant nodded. This is Jesse Owens, one of the greatest track and field athletes of all time, and the pictures on this poster are all from his record-setting performance at the 1936 Olympic Games in Berlin, Germany. Did Jesse Owens win the Olympics? One boy asked. Then reddened as several children began snickering. Well, there are many events and many competitors from all over the world at the Olympic Games every 4 years. But yes, Jesse did win several events, Mrs. Bryant explained. But the most significant thing about his victories in Berlin is not that he won and set new world records, it's that the German dictator, Adolf Hitler, had determined that the 1936 Berlin Olympics would be the showcase where he demonstrated to the world that the German Aryan race was the dominant race on Earth. Then, to have an American outperform all his athletes, and a Black American to boot, it was quite a statement. In spite of Hitler's plans, what the world ended up seeing was that all men, regardless of race, can possess and achieve greatness. And by the way, Jesse Owens was born right here in Alabama. As Mrs. Bryant answered the many excited questions the kids had about Jesse Owens, Eric and his best friend Tom stared at the poster's images of the man. They were not unique in their rapture, though. Nothing was quite as exciting during your third grade year at Rosley Junior High as Mrs. Bryant's daily observation of famous Alabamians. What did set the two boys apart in those days, though, was the fact that they were even friends at all. That was particularly unusual because Tom was white and Eric was black. Over his lifetime, Tom had heard of many sports legends, as his father Ray was a great sports fan. But not surprisingly, Ray had always denigrated the accomplishments of great African American sports heroes to the point that Tom knew very little of the facts. He knew the names, though, and they came to him now in his mind with various sports commentators heralding their accomplishments, and Ray's angry voice rebutting with his traditional responses. May 1971, one day after leading the Milwaukee Bucks to the NBA championship and being named MVP, Louis Sindor, in keeping with his Muslim faith, has adopted the Arabic name Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, meaning noble, servant of the all-powerful, but by any name, he is the single most dominant force in basketball today. Leading Power Memorial High. Then John Wooden's UCLA Bruins to championship after championship, now bringing the lowly Milwaukee Bucks back to league prominence. There's no telling where this young star's career will lead. Who? Ain't nobody ever heard of Louis Sindor, much less this stupid new name. I don't know about no Power Memorial High, but everybody worth a damn knows Bill Walton was the best player ever played at UCLA. Your Bob Cousy's and your Pistol Pete Maravich's, that's your pro basketball greats. Not these damn upstarts that won't never amount to nothin'. July 1971, Jim Brown has become the youngest man ever inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. But considering he rushed for an all-time record 12,312 yards and scored 126 touchdowns in only 9 seasons, nobody should be surprised by that. Jim Brown was nothin' but a movie star. He quit early 'cause he didn't have nothin' left. He ain't half the runnin' back Jim Thorpe was. May 1972, Wilt Chamberlain has just been named MVP of the 1972 NBA Finals. Leading the Los Angeles Lakers to their first championship title, Wilt Chamberlain ain't nothin' but a big overgrown freak. He can't shoot at all he can do is dunk it like some lumberin' oaf. Bob Cousy and Pistol Pete Maravich, now them boys, could truly play the game, all parts of it. Wilt Chamberlain, my foot, April 1974, Hank Aaron has just broken the unbreakable record. With his unbelievable 715th home run, Hammer Hank has eclipsed the all-time mark set by the legendary Babe Ruth. This one will stand forever. Hank Aaron? Ain't nobody outside of Atlanta ever heard of Hank Aaron. The Babe was and will always be the greatest slugger in history. Back then, pitchin' was good. Hank Aaron hit all his homers against weak pitchin'. Tom had become so lost.